The Crash Course Podcast is brought to you in part by DerbyParts.com. The 2015 Wadena Grand Slam. Full Lockwood Motorsports and the 2015 Keystone Nationals. Scioppa Racing and ScioppaRacing.com. Ultimate Derby and Blizzard Bash 2015. Demo Derby Master. Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel at RecklessAbandonGear.com. And Derby Inc. Magazine. Live it, breathe it, be it, Derby Inc. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby Podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Crash Course Demolition Derby Podcast. Excited to be here tonight. Johnny, still a little bell rung.
Yeah, buddy.
Donnie Hartzell joining me here in studio tonight. This is going to be a little bit of a fun episode. We've got a chance to catch up with Eric Eberling and some of the folks from out there at the Otsego County Fair. But starting a little bit of heavy heart, I guess, is the easiest way to put it. Sending our best out to Josh Decker. He's not here in the studio tonight. His mom's birthday was today, and of course we remember her early passing, and he's taking some time with family at home. Brian, he's at one of his football meetings, I believe. Either that or he's got practice tonight. And then Ben, he's on the road up in Malone, New York, up at the Franklin County Fair with Total Destruction Demo Productions. Total Destruction had the Otsego County Fair last week. Donnie, you got to take in some of that action from up in the Crow's Nest. That fun show down there.
Best seat in the house.
But 6:45, we're going to be catching up with Darren Aagard, too. Darren is in the midst of, I believe, shopping for a new lawnmower. But he's going to break himself away from picking out a John Deere or an Aaron's or Cub Cadet, whatever he might be looking at, to chat with us a little bit about the Wadena Grand Slam, which is coming up on Saturday already, if you can believe that. Chad Winne coming away with the win in the full-size division over there at the Otsego County Fairgrounds, driving his Imperial. This car has gone through a number of different wars, but it has brought home a ton of victories. Nonetheless, we're going to be getting him on the line. Donnie, I got to say thanks to you for sure for stepping in and helping out.
Absolutely, bud. No problem.
Last night when we had to, I got to find Chad's phone number in here. There it is, when we had to step away from the track a little bit. We'll get into that in a little bit more. Jess Vona and Josh Buell also jumping in and giving a hand to make sure that we captured everything. I was really impressed at the run in the qualifying heat by Delbert Van Dyke with that 66 Newport. How good was that?
Oh, that was good. He drove that hard for sure. He did put on a good show.
He did a nice job with that. Tough break. Eric Mears ended up not qualifying. He had a Monte Carlo that he had run at Kings of Old School.
He took a heck of a shot in the passenger side.
Yeah, he sure did.
Hey, Chad. Hey, man. I'm not bad. Can I put you in?
All right. We'll get that open. That's open. And we should have Chad Winne joining us here on the DerbyParts.com hotline. Chad, are you there?
Yes, sir. How you doing, guys?
Hey, we were just talking about your Imperial that you ended up winning over there in Morris with. How many wins does that car have now? That thing did some damage last year and still carrying it on.
Well, we took wheel days at Brookfield in the fall, and we come away with the win at Otsego County last night. So 2 heats, 2 features. Been a good car.
That car ran at Morris last year at all?
No, it did run Thursday night this year. We had some rear trouble. My daughter Brandon, she ran that on Thursday night, but we didn't have a whole lot of luck.
To understate
got back
it,
to the drawing board and made a few changes, a few repairs, and come back. Had a real good showing.
To understate it, you had a little wheel hop on Thursday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. She broke an axle pretty hurt early on in the one and done run on Thursday night. She ran it a little bit excessive, I guess you could say, and done a little more damage to our power plant. But it had enough left in it to come back and kind of clean things up there on Sunday.
So you said that hurt the motor too?
Yeah. Actually, I'm pretty sure she spun a rod bearing Thursday night. But it wasn't real terrible. Had a slight tap to it, but by the end of the night last night, she was knocking pretty hard.
Now, was that was a result of Brianna standing on it with both feet and turning roughly 10,000 RPM for about 8 minutes?
Yeah, it was an extended period of time. I'm not sure quite what she was thinking, but nonetheless, she was giving it everything she had, and caused some slight damage, I would say.
What rear end was in that car? Because you said you broke an axle.
LA style 360. That's typically what we run. That's the older style 360 block and heads, non-roller style. We've had that motor. I've won a few features with that motor. That's been a good one for us. We stick to our small blocks primarily.
Right.
A couple big blocks that are still kicking around that we run from time to time, but they just don't seem to run as cool as the small block stuff.
It also gives you a lot more room underneath the hood.
Yeah, it does. It does. With the ability to run a distributor protector on a rear distributor style motor, as everybody knows, it gives you some advantage when you can put that baby right up against the firewall and help the car structurally.
Now, what rear end was in that, and what did you have to do in terms of making the changes? Because it seemed like there was more going on than just that axle with the way that the wheel was turning. And it seemed like there was something going on in the center of that rear end.
I mean, I run a Mosier rear, full spool.
Mm-hmm.
We actually had an axle failure, which I'm not really sure what caused that. I think maybe there was an underlying condition from when we ran wheel days at Brookfield.
That can happen over there.
That maybe we missed.
Sure.
But the axle, the spline of the axle, put it in probably about 10 pieces, which I haven't really seen before. We've had fairly good luck with the Mosier stuff, but I think across the board, everybody's had some problems with most everything that we're running these days.
Was that a product of the cars being so hard? I mean, you're going to find is that just a kind of a product of the cars being so hard now that you're eventually going to start finding it's just going to break at the weakest link, and if there's a minor imperfection, the car is so stiff now, and they're hitting each other with such force that weak link is enough to break.
Well, not only that, but nowadays we're letting us run a lot heavier tire. You got a lot more centrifugal force and weight out on the end of the axle, which transfers into the third member. We're running 10, 12, 14 ply tires now, which are double and triple the weight, in conjunction with reinforced wheels and things of that nature. And it really kind of, if you're not running a heavy, harder steel axle with that kind of weight out on the end, you're going to have failures, no doubt about it.
Right. When you start looking at all these parts and pieces and you see a spline that's blown into 10 pieces, what do you do at that point? Do you have a whole new rear end that you drop into that, or do you take that thing apart and rebuild it in 3 days to get it ready for Sunday?
Well, in our particular case, I did not have a spare Mosier kicking around, so, I went back to the old school thinking, and, I went with a stock set of axles. I lightened up the tire weight. Dropped to a 14-inch tire, which gave us a little more wheel clearance, which was fortunate for us because the back of our car was in real sad shape after the daytime heat that we ran at Morris. So when you take the weight out of the whole equation, a stock axle is acceptable. Imperial axle, is what I would call it. Chrysler 8 3/4 is typically what we run. I know a lot of guys are running 4 9-inch stuff, but it's what I know, so I kind of stick with it, and it's been working good for us so far. I know a lot of guys are going to these aftermarket braced rears, and we just haven't got that far yet. So that's a big nut to crack. I mean, they're very expensive, and we're still trying to stay in the realm of. We build all our own distributor protectors, engine cradles. We build our own rears, motors. We got a tranny guy a local tranny guy at a transmission headquarters, and he takes care of our transmission stuff. But we're budget derbiers, and we're trying to do the best we can with what we got.
You build a lot with Mike Green and Bob Dixon.
I do. We, as a matter of fact, Mike and Bob and Bob's brother Jeff are directly responsible for getting me involved in this sport. I come from more of a racing background, and about 12 years ago, I went and watched these guys run. We're all neighbors, and they showed me the way of the Derby driver, and I've been doing it ever since. I ran a car that was given to me by Mike back in '03, and I was instantly hooked. The atmosphere, the people, the crowd. It was a lot of fun. So I gave up my racing helmet and strapped on my Derby helmet, and I've been doing it ever since.
When you look at some of the people that have tried to do that crossover, you don't see a lot of that happening. What did your racing friends say when you said, "Yeah, I'm gonna go crash cars for fun"?
Well, I wouldn't say they were for it, but what I told them was, sit in a Derby car one time and tell me what you think. I've raced everything with four wheels and a track underneath it, kart racing, car racing, snowmobile racing, quad racing, and the adrenaline rush that I get out of a demo is just above and beyond anything else going.
What division had you come up to when you stepped away from circle track stuff?
Well, we started kart racing when we were young. We ran the Yamaha class KT 100 on dirt.
Right.
Most of New York State into Pennsylvania, and then I got into the street stock division in a race car several years later, probably somewhere around 02, 03. And at that time, I didn't have the funding. Stock cars was very expensive. It was a few $100 a week just getting to the track.
Right.
Getting guys in the pits to help you out. And it's another team sport, and I didn't have a lot of people backing me, and it was tough. Every week at the track, it was a huge commitment, and Derbying's a little less hectic on the event side of things, and the guys right down the street were doing it, so it was a perfect fit.
You in a case where you, how do I say this? Do you prefer one and dones over the format that we saw here over the weekend?
Well, one and done is easier.
But you were talking about the hecticness.
I wouldn't say necessarily prefer it.
Yeah.
It's always nice not to have to, beat your car back into shape and change tires and make major repairs. We have done, tranny swaps at the Derby between 1 and 5, which, is no fun. It's usually hot in middle August.
Not the only one.
Right.
It's not the most glorious job, but we have done it. Yesterday, it was really up in the air when we were at the early drivers meeting what was going to happen if we were going to run 2 one-and-done shows, one at 1 o'clock and one at 6 o'clock. And the drivers kind of voted on things, and we ended up running a daytime heat, which they were going to take 2 cars, ended up taking 3, which, by the way, that heat was very long and stressful. It was a hard-hitting heat. The track was super dry. It was probably 85 degrees out. The cars were not performing in that heat as well as I'd like to see. And then, they pulled 3 cars out. Happened to be one of them. Myself, Kate Green, and Bob Dixon. We moved on to the feature, and we spent the afternoon beating things back into place and cutting and changing tires and getting things ready, and we re-inspected and made it into the feature.
Is that car all done now? Are we done with that car?
Subframe, I think, is still good. I like my push frame Imperials. I've had real good luck with them. I'm kind of the push frame guy around here. A lot of guys prefer full frame cars. It just suits my driving style. I like to go forwards. I like to hit hard. And, where we typically run, I would consider, kind of like a limited weld class, like
right.
you'd see in Pennsylvania and other places. But, we're still somewhat behind the times around here. You're not looking at the level of build like you're seeing at Keystone Nationals or Bash, or out in Wichita. Those guys are, they're putting 6 to 10 months into a build, where we're putting 3 months into a build.
Do you like that?
They're dumping $20,000, $25,000 into a car, and we're dumping $10,000 into a car.
Do you like that style of build? I mean, with invest in 3 months in a car, you've been able to win 2 heats and 2 features with the same entry. It doesn't pay back your $10,000 in any way, shape, or form. But do you like that style of build, having to invest that much time, or do you like the chain and go stuff?
Well, I do prefer the limited weld style build.
Mm-hmm.
I like to weld and fabricate and build DPs and try new things and come up with new stuff. And when you get to the track, guys are like, oh, check that out. That's real nice. Where'd you come up with that idea? And of course, it's like anything else. You're picking up ideas at every show you go to and on the internet. I mean, it's a useful tool.
So Chad,
see a lot of things. We travel around, King's Old School. You see guys from all over the country and what they're doing, and you try to incorporate that into your build.
So you're a gray area guy.
Improviser.
Yes, I'm a very gray area guy, and Ben will tell you. When I show up at one of his shows, I expect to cut something. The same thing with the Kings. I'm usually back 2 or 3 times, cutting something, 2 or 3 things, whatever the case. But I go there with the intention, or with the understanding that I'm probably going to have to cut something, because I'm pushing the envelope just like every other good driver builder out there. It seems to be the way of the game in the limited weld class. I mean,
right.
You're looking for the edge on the next guy, and I mean, you're running. I myself have been building my own engines, all along, and we're running against guys with that got diver motors and Baldwins and Guard, and I mean, that's high quality stuff. I mean, they're out spending $5, $6, $7, $8, $10, $12,000 on a power plant alone, not including a $2,000 tranny and a $500, $600 drive shaft and a $2,500, $3,000 rear end. So
right.
It's an ever changing thing, and you've got to really stay on top of the game. You got to do your homework, and you got to put the time in above all else. I mean, and it's always been that way with the Derby. It's how far are you willing to go, and how much time are you willing to put in?
We saw quite the build from Bob Dixon this year. How much time did he have invested in that?
Oh, I mean, Bob started, I would say, sometime around midwinter, at least gathering parts and
sometime around September
starting
last
his
year.
Build. He did go with a diver performance engine this year.
Mm-hmm.
Sounded great. Diver seems to be putting together some pretty good stuff. A couple local guys are running his stuff, trannies.
Josh Buell's into their
motors.
stuff, big time.
And I'm impressed. I've never, I can't say I never, but I used to run GM stuff in Chevys years ago, and I had decent luck with that stuff. I can't say that I didn't.
Right.
I was still learning. I was running against guys like Rick Englehart, Mike Beers. Running in the same circles as those guys, and believe me, the competition was just fierce. I mean, those guys put more time in than anybody, and they were coming up with all the good ideas.
And you had the Menards out there too. And who's the red and white cars that are out there? I can't think of their last name.
White cars.
Red and white. Ben and I were talking about them on one of our trips together, and I can't think of their last names. There was a group of a family that often ran red and white cars that was down, I believe, in that neck of the woods. And then Josh Buell, of course, we talked about him. We've also got the Gulleys, and the list just goes on and on of great drivers down there that you've had to match up with, and then the generation prior that was still driving in the mid 90s and early 2000s. There was no easy path to victory down in that neck of the woods.
No, it's been a tough area to get to a winning point. I just started winning a few years ago. I mean, but I've been working at it, and like with everything else in life, hard work pays off. But I spend time nights after the kids go to bed. I get on the internet. I get on YouTube and I look at other builds and I watch other derbies and try to see what other guys are doing. As well as when I'm walking around the car, I spend 20 hours walking around the car when I'm putting it together, trying to look at new angles, and you're always looking for that edge. Like I said, you're you're trying to find that, whether it's something you're I guess if you want to call it sneaking through, people, inspectors overlook things. They do, and it's not, any fault of theirs. I mean, things are always changing. You're always seeing new things.
Right.
And there's things that they may not pick up on. And that, I mean, at least in our area, guys are always looking to get something through that they're not going to pick up on. But it always seems that the following year, you see that rule change. You'll get something, and they'll question it, and they'll say, "Okay, we'll let you run it." It doesn't seem crazy, and then the next year, well, we're going to put that in the rules that you can't do that, and we've seen it happen time and time again.
Gotcha. That does seem to happen. We get to see you at Wheel Days this year?
I've got a 75 caddy I've been working on.
Well, there's some good news.
I'm not really sure what's going to happen at this point. I'm trying to put together a state fair ride. I think we're gonna go up there and run. I've never been there to run before, and this year is from what I understand the last derby at the state fair. They're
not
gonna
officially.
tear down the grandstand and put up an amphitheater.
Right.
So
right.
I figured it's my last chance. I'm gonna go up there and give it a shot. I know it's kind of a sandbag fest, and it's kind of not the way I usually run, but with the hay, I'm gonna give it a shot.
It's not officially on paper, I don't think, come out that it's going to be the last one, but since they're tearing down the grandstands, building an equestrian center and a hockey facility, and and all these other things, it kind of lends everybody the assumption,
Yeah.
They already got the amphitheater done.
Yeah, that's across the street, right?
Yeah.
That's the one that's going in. Yeah, the equestrian center is the one that's going to be the major issue. They want horses, not horsepower.
Yeah. Chad, what are you taking to the state fair?
Well, I've never been a big fan of the show. I mean, down this way, and I'm sure you've seen the mentality in New York.
Oh yeah.
Guys like to run hard. They like to push the limits. Up there, it's outlast. Outdrive and outlast. It's not
Pretty
who's
much.
got the toughest car. It's who can stay out of trouble the most and keep your car cool. And of course the right car is absolutely key up there. I mean, we've seen guys win in 6-cylinder cars plenty of times.
Yep.
But also we've seen guys win in mid-sized cars and even some big stuff.
And no matter what, if you win,
About
you
8,
leave
9
it there.
years ago,
Get your
Jeff
battery
Dixon
box
went up
and
there and won
battery.
with a
That's
Diplomat.
Yep.
It just so happened he stayed out of trouble. He kept his car cool, and that was the deciding factor.
Right. Well, Chad, man, I hope that we see you in the postseason. Good luck at the state fair. Jim Ellman is going to be up there with you as well, representing Chautauqua County. We got to talk to him last week. Programming note for everybody that was asking about it. We did find the flaw in what happened last Monday. We've got the local recording that's going to be uploaded to YouTube, so everybody's going to be able to see that. The MP3 also uploaded. We're going to tell you a little bit here in a moment about Demo Derby Masters and DerbyParts.com and Keystone Nationals and the Reckless Warriors Tour and everything that's wrapping up here. But first, I got to say thanks to Chad, man. Congratulations again on the win. Good luck at the state fair, and we wish you the best. I hope to see you in September.
Thanks, I appreciate it, and I hope you see me in September too.
Sounds good to me.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Chad.
Yeah,
We'll see you later. There goes Chad Winne, who won the Otsego County Fair Championship over the weekend at in Morris, New York. We had a pretty good run. What we're going to do is we're going to play a little bit of telephone tag quickly with Eric Eberling, and we're going to get Eric Eberling and Jeremy Gulley on for a little bit here. But first, I want everybody to have a quick look at this.
The Crash Course would like to thank DerbyParts.com, an industry leader in aftermarket parts. DerbyParts.com has become the go-to source for builders looking to make one stop for all their derby needs. A proud partner of the Reckless Warrior Series and a title sponsor at the Bash for Cash, DerbyParts.com offers products from the top manufacturers in the industry, including fellow Reckless Warriors partners Brian Muir and Big Rock Derby products, and performance aftermarket standouts MSD, Edelbrock, Schonfeld, and Samson tires. Inventory includes cradles, ultra bells, sliders, flex plates, pedal kits, mounts, fans, radiators, adapters, tanks, and much, much more. DerbyParts.com truly offers one-stop shopping for builders ready to perform at any level. Go online and check them out. From bumper to bumper, you can find it on DerbyParts.com. Are you good enough to be recognized as a reckless warrior? Bo Lockwood Motorsports' 2015 Demolition Derby schedule will now be combined into the Reckless Warrior Tour, designed to give rewards and recognition to drivers that support Bo Lockwood Motorsports. To the Keystone Nationals, which has moved to the Westmoreland County Fairgrounds June 27th. The Jefferson County Fair Championships follows, with the limited road cars back in the limelight as they chase a $3,000 payday in Brookville, with the Reckoning 2 following on August 1st at the Clarion County Fairgrounds in Clarion, Pennsylvania. The series finishes with the final encounter September 4th and 5th at the Stoneborough County Fair. In all, there is more than $75,000 in prize money available among the 6 shows and features some of the largest purses in the Keystone State. Drivers will earn points based on their feature appearances and heat and feature finishes, with bonuses awarded for passing inspection and getting a stick on the first try. The season will end with a points bank where Bo Lockwood Motorsports will crown the deadliest warrior. That driver will then have his selection of one of the 10 prizes from the Reckless Warrior partner. For more details on the 2015 Reckless Warrior Tour, visit their Facebook page and check out blmotorsports.net. Ultimate Derby's Blizzard Bash is back this fall. The hallmark of the Kansas Expo Center's Derby schedule in Topeka, Kansas has been expanded to 4 days this coming November. The event will include something for every fan within Demolition Derby. Inspection opens November 11th with the heat draw party in the Vendors Arena. Action starts November the 12th at 7 p.m. with the National Team Bracket and the Qualifying Team Bracket opening rounds. Action returns Friday, November the 13th with National Bracket and Team Bracket Round 2. The 80s Mod Heats and the 80s Leaf classes are also on the card. Saturday's card includes the 1,000 to win RC Derby planned for 1 o'clock in the afternoon at the vendors area right in the Ski Inc. Pavilion. That's before the full-size cars take the track at 6 o'clock with B features for both the team brackets, the 80s Consi, the stock one and dones for Old Iron, the 80s and the compacts, the Power Wheels Youth Division, and Pro Mods are also on Saturday's card. Championship Sunday rolls off at noon with modified compacts and Old Iron leading the charge. Then trucks, the 80s feature, and the qualifying bracket feature leading to crowning the national championship in the team finale. All the action is available on pay-per-view and is presented in part by Speedway Motors, O'Reilly Auto Parts, in addition to DerbyTees.com, Near It Sliders, Ski Inc., Chambliss Welding, and Ultimate Derby. Don't forget, Ultimate Derby has Capital Carnage right around the corner, April 22nd to 24th, a $30,000 to win event is set for that last weekend of April, right back at the Expo Center in Topeka, Kansas. For more information, visit www.blizzardbash.com or www.ultimatederby.com.
And we are back. We've got Jeremy Gulley and, whoops. Well, look at that error. Isn't that pretty cool? Eric Eberling, Jeremy Gulley joining us here on the hotline. Guys, welcome to the show.
Hey, what's going on?
What's going on, Chris?
Oh, I don't know. You guys finally talked me into it, and Josh Buell thought that it was a joke. He didn't think that I was actually going to sit in the truck, but ladies and gentlemen, I finally did it. I rode along with Jeremy Gulley in the trucks division, and everybody that I told that I was riding with them told me that I was crazy because Jeremy only uses lap belts. He forgets to tell people about broken seats. And at the end of it, I ended up at the emergency room to have a total of 10 stitches put in to hold the front of my leg together after I bounced it off the seat bar. But it was entertaining, to say the least. Guys, congratulations. Double D's did an outstanding job in the truck division over there at the Otsego County Fair.
Thank you, sir.
I wanted to have you guys on to just kind of talk about a little bit of that truck run and say, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to ride with you. That was an interesting perspective, to say the least.
Well, I'm glad to see you finally got in a vehicle. Why you chose me, I have no idea. But you've had numerous guys offer you rides and driving, and you decide to ride in probably one of the hardest hitting classes in Morris.
Well, go big or go home, right?
I guess, bud. I guess.
It wasn't. I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't what I expected. You know what I mean? I don't know. I was talking with Donnie before the show started about, we saw some of those clips there from Blizzard Bash, as hard as those entries are, and I can't imagine what those guys feel like afterwards because they're so hard, all the shock goes into your body.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I felt pretty fortunate when we looked at that Dodge again, and that thing was bent up pretty well in the back, and I was thinking, well, at least it had gave a little.
Yeah,
gave a little on you.
The Kings of Old School car that I ran, the kicker car, you felt your teeth chatter. I'm glad that they do bend.
You know, Eric, you've had a pretty good run of luck over there in Morris.
Yeah, it's my hometown show. I go, that's one show I'll attend pretty much every year. You know, you get a lot of people that follow you everywhere you go, and that's just one of the places that I get a lot of people there. So it's nice to take the group and put on a show for everybody, and you know, the thumbs up in the middle of the heat, you know, is just a blast.
Yeah, by the way, Donnie, I don't know if you know this, but a thumbs up in the middle of the heat means keep going.
Keep going.
Harder. I thought they were just saying, "Are you okay?" So I was giving thumbs up that yes. I
kept seeing the thumbs go up, and I was like, "Oh, that must be keep
that
coming."
A lot of them weren't thumbs, as it turned out. They were giving each other the finger more than anything. But I got to say that my heart sank a little bit when Jeremy gave the steering wheel the spin, and there was no steering left in it, and simultaneously I was, in a word, relieved. Knew that the end was near because eventually we're going to get packed in a corner someplace.
Yeah, that was kind of no coming back from that. Eric's a good enough driver, and I'm sure that if he didn't see it, and he didn't hear Steve announce it, that he would soon figure it out and push me into a corner, and evidently that's what happened. And of course, you did take a shot on the passenger side twice.
Yes.
Broke my axle and did some more damage, but it's a derby. That happens.
And I waved them on at one point too. Make no mistake, you're there to play a role.
Yeah.
So I told them, bring it.
Foul suit.
When in Rome, do as the Romans.
Yeah.
And I tell you, Jeremy, the thing that hurts the most, I mean, I'm not going to count the top of my foot, the shin, my waist from the lap belt, my neck, or anything. It's my shoulder where I got the tetanus shot. I think that probably is the most. That's probably the most.
That's funny.
I didn't feel that bad at all today, all things considered.
No, I don't hurt either. I mean, my arms are a little sore, but we did run 3 times in 4 days. Eric and I ran, quite a bit there. Even Sunday afternoon, the 1:00 show. It gets taxing on the body when you're that hot and you're sweating and you're trying to steer and shift and keep track of everything and then of course you sit for a couple hours and you stiffen up and then you jump right back into it and it'll make the arms and legs a little sore.
Brian, I messaged Brian. He goes, so is what I heard true? And Josh said the same thing. And I said, yeah. And he goes, so you rode with Gulley? And I said, yeah, I rode shotgun with Gulley. And he goes, you're effing nuts.
I told Brian he can ride along anytime he wants to.
Well, I mean, like, you don't even sitting in the stands when you see the guys get the steering wheel knocked out of their hands, or they're boxing the invisible man on the passenger seat, stuff like that. It's crazy. And Gulley ended up on my lap at one point. He got laid right over sideways, and I was like, if he blacks out, I'm screwed because I'm not. The steering wheel that I'm pretending to hang on to isn't connected to anything. I mean,
at least I had a steering wheel for you to hold on to,
but I didn't hang on to it a whole lot.
Well,
I thought you were getting ejected at one time.
I think at the end of the show, you guys were both playing the same role.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we were doing just as much good.
Yep. I think Chris got air off the seat a few times.
Well, that's because the rack didn't work. It just, when you hit going forwards, you got to slide an extra 1.5 feet forwards, nice. And then when you hit backwards, it slid backwards. And Josh Buell told me afterwards, he said, just brace your foot on the dash. I figured that out about halfway through, but every time I did that, I thought I was going to break my toes off.
Yeah, when I rode with Danny Bolton in the Spring Fling, I didn't like my feet on the dash because it kind of seemed to jar my back a little more. So that's why I didn't tell you to.
That's fine. It's fine.
It's different when you're a passenger. I've been there, and I don't know. I don't know as I like it too much, to be honest with you. You can't control it. You don't know when the impacts are coming, and going backwards, it's really hard to, as a passenger, it's hard to look behind you. That's why I was trying to, every time I was going to go backwards, and go pretty good, I'd tell you, hold on, because we're gonna throw one here.
You were talking to me?
And we did all right for a while, and then
we did good. We were communicating well from what I assume. I don't remember you talking to me much at all. I do remember the seat coming forward at one point and the lap belt grabbing hold of my hips, but the slinky that used to be my spine extended forwards quite a bit, and I smashed my forehead off of the A-pillar, which was, I mean, that's a story to write home about once you remember it.
Yeah.
Where's
When
George?
when we got said and done with our truck, George took his helmet off, and I was like, "Man, your teeth are all blood." The first time we went head to head with you guys, he bit his tongue and he had blood all over.
Oh,
Bite his tongue.
yeah.
Or his lip.
He bit his tongue.
Damn.
Now, thankfully, he wasn't spitting out chiclets after that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It could have
true.
been way worse. But yeah, Jeremy's got some rope burn on his neck from the shoulder restraint that he had. I didn't have to worry about that.
No,
Didn't have to worry about that on my side of the truck. No.
Well, my passenger doesn't like a seatbelt, and as a matter of fact, he told me, he's like, I'm just going to take this lap belt right off. He said he'd only wear one when he rides in a derby and he's driving. I told him he's absolutely not.
That's not me, by the way. That was all Josh.
That wasn't you.
No, no. I was.
I don't, for the life of me, I can't understand why anybody wouldn't wear anything. But I know there's guys that do it. But
Yeah.
Yeah, if your lap belt
I
wasn't
watch
there,
the
you were
videos.
definitely getting
I watch
ejected out
most
of
of
the
the
front
videos that were
window for
posted
sure.
today on Facebook and whatnot. And man, when you watch the video, it doesn't seem like you're hitting that hard. But I'm here to tell you, when you're going nose to nose or even ass to nose, it seems like you're hitting a lot harder than what you think you are.
Yeah.
I would also like to extend a giant thank you to all the people that called me a sissy and a girl for having to get in an ambulance after the first time I was in a car. That was cool. I appreciate that. And no, I don't plan on making this something a regular occurrence. You guys wanted me to get in a car. I got in a truck with Jeremy, with a lap belt, pretty much stacked as many odds against me as possible, and it survived. And as I was reminded that my place is behind a camera, and I should probably wisely keep it that.
The question is, though, did you enjoy it?
A couple days, I think I will. A couple days, I'll be able to say yes.
After he gets his memory back.
No, it was interesting. I mean, it was a very new perspective, and we came out, and we did the donut, and I had totally the donut, and then I made eye contact with Ben, and Ben's laughing at me, and Buell's chuckling at the whole thing, and then I saw Austin Manchaki there in the front stretch, and I totally blanked out. What I was going to do was, once we parked, was take the seatbelt off. I was going to point at the 3 truck, give him the fingers under the neck, tell him to shut it off, and have some fun with this thing. And I blanked on it. Completely blanked on it. It was just like, wow, I'm staring off across the hood of a Dodge with stacks in front of it that's loud enough at idle to make my ears itch, and we're about to back into a van, a full-size Ford Econoline van. It's somewhere around 40 miles an hour, and I just forgot to do all that because I was going to try and build it up a little bit more. So sorry, Eric.
Suspense. You just couldn't do it.
I didn't. I'm not gonna lie. I
You failed.
completely.
Epic fail on that, Chris.
I did. But I'm not worried about the sequel either.
That just means round 2.
Nope, already had you off there.
No round 2s.
No, I was glad that Donnie was a little tied up in traffic on his trip down, but thankfully he was there to get the crow's nest cameras, and I spent a ton of time through the course of the morning, and then in the afternoon during the intermission between the morning and afternoon shows with Jess Vona and Andy, and she was able to jump in there and with Josh Buell tape the other 2 features of the show, because obviously I had to leave the ground studio with my legs sewn back shut, and trust me, Eric was with me for a chunk of it. I tried everything I could to get somebody to just pack that thing full of super glue and tell me that I didn't need to go get stitches, but everybody that we saw had the same reaction. It's like, whoa, that's gross. That's gross. It's deep, and you need to go see someone who's a bit more of a professional than the MASH unit at the fair.
Yeah. Yeah.
You also needed to drink a bottle of water.
Yeah, I was told by this young fella's mom that I needed to. This young fella told me that I need to make sure that I drink a bottle of water. Needed to make sure that happened. His mom gave him the advice, and he pulled my eyelids down and checked underneath it for some reason and told me that I needed to drink a bottle of water. My blood pressure was way upside down when I got out of the truck, and I think they said that the pulse rate was somewhere around 120 beats a minute. So I was excited. It was a good time. It was a very good time, and I was excited for it. And we haven't talked about the compacts. The compacts had a huge field out there for their feature, and I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong, it was Justin Utter that won that in the 11 teen.
Might have been, was it Justin or Joey?
I think it was Justin or Joey, one of the two. I can't remember which one was driving what car.
If it was the Subaru, it was Joey.
Okay, it was the Subaru. That thing was a beast out there. So it was Joey Utter, my mistake. Joey Utter coming away with the win.
Yellow.
And that Andy Vona coming away with the Hard Hitter Award, and Mad Dog of the Heat, so that was cool to see. The compact turnout that they had there was insane. And there was a ton of 4 and 6 cylinder junk made both nights.
All 3 events.
Yeah.
All 3.
Through the course of the weekend. It was a fun time. It was a real good time, and Al Crockett, he messaged me. He goes, "What did you do to yourself now?" And I said, "I rode with Jeremy Gulley." And he wrote back, "Enough said." But where are you guys running next? Have you got anything left of the Dodge and the Suburban?
Oh no, I broke everything.
See, again, it makes me feel better about it. Hearing that the Dodge is that broke makes me feel a lot better about it. The Suburban?
Yeah, the Suburban's a little iffy. The floorboard started pushing up there when we were going head-to-head with you guys that last couple times, and when we drove you in the wall. She come up about 3 inches in the floorboard. George is like, we're getting in trouble.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yep, and I don't know if anybody can wrap their head around this. I almost liked it better when we were against the wall, because it was half the impact. we weren't moving too. We weren't driving into the impact. We were just waiting for it to happen.
You should have hopped in our Suburban then.
No, nah, that's okay. I tell you that it was pretty weird being up against that Ford van, and the panel is like right here, pushing into the window. It's like we're awful close to that, and I don't know how that dude didn't get rolled over, because he had a whole lot of assault coming through the side of that thing.
Yeah. I was waiting for him to get flipped.
He was a target.
Yeah.
He was a
He
target.
got sideways a couple of times. I thought Jeremy was going to get him one time, and then I was like, nope, missed him.
You get something that big, and you take a look at what happened over at the King's Old School show. You know, you get 2 of them vans out in the track, and they're tough. You have a hard time bending them.
Yeah.
But you got to take care of them. You got a fresh truck, otherwise you're going to be screwed in the long run.
There was a lot of trucks out there too. It was busy, but it felt like it went quick.
Well, the afternoon heat was like 16 trucks, but it seemed like we turned around 3-4 minutes in, and 3/4 of the field was gone already. It kind of went pretty fast. The afternoon one was only, I think, 8 trucks, and we lost one right at the get-go, and it seemed to go longer than the afternoon one for some reason. I'm not sure why, but it just did.
The afternoon one was about 20 minutes long when you factor in the red flag for that split gas tank, and I'm not even for sure what the evening one was, but it felt like we were out there for.
The evening one was a lot longer than the other one for sure.
Was it?
Yeah.
It didn't feel like it. It felt like it was over like that.
Yeah, I knew it was a little longer because she started to get a little hot, and she didn't get hot at all in the afternoon. So I knew that, I knew it was a little bit longer.
They kept driving forward. They were just taking themselves out. They were just driving forward, making silly shots, and
that minivan, that thing in the afternoon, that got hit right away and it opened the back up. But man, he didn't quit, and Eric and George sent that thing out of the park 2-3 times, but you just put it in reverse and go right back after. Yeah, I think so.
Rolling me, I think he hit me in the rear driver's side tire, and I thought I was going over for the first time in 20 years. He had me up on 2 wheels. I'm almost positive.
I thought you and Buell going over when you guys come up by the wall too. They lifted it right up on its side. I was like, well, they're going over.
Yeah, I thought so. Now we broke a tranny and steering box and distributor and coil, and it's just not even worth talking about. All I see is dollar signs and more dollar signs.
I'd like to let you know I broke a block of wood.
A block of wood.
A tranny cross member.
Oh, okay. All right. It's like Ridge Sipper's steering lock. Remember that thing at Clarion when you had the piece basically splint the middle U joint
with black electrical tape,
and it worked.
And it worked.
worked.
Yeah,
that was something.
That was something.
We're a couple minutes away from getting Darren Aagard on. Just wanted to say again, Eric and Jeremy, thanks a ton for that experience. It was a ton of fun. Congratulations, you guys pulled down a couple wins, and I hope to see you at Wheel Days in September.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Chris.
Yeah, man. We'll see you guys. We'll see you guys soon. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, have a good
Yeah, bye-bye.
See ya. And I'm sure those guys are going to be back over there. They have just piles and piles of stuff that they're going to turn into junk in rapid fashion, like they typically do. So
buddy.
what we're going to do is we're going to give you a quick look at this here first, and then we will be right back with Darren Aagard. We'll see you in a minute.
Dillon Derby Masters offers